You wake up with one new ability. You can hear everyone's thoughts, not their words, not their secrets out loud, their actual thoughts, every worried sentence, every jealous reaction, every private fear they would never say to another person. At first, it feels amazing. You know the next card before your friend plays it. You know which coworker is pretending to understand the meeting. You know when someone is nervous, excited, lying, or trying not to cry. For a few minutes, it feels like life finally came with subtitles. Then you notice something uncomfortable. Most of the thoughts you hear are not important. They are random, half-finished, emotional, and completely unfiltered, but you cannot turn them off, and you only have 24 hours to figure out whether this is the greatest ability ever or the worst. It starts at breakfast. Your mom smiles and says good morning, but behind the smile you hear a worried thought. She hopes you are okay. Your dad laughs at something small, but you hear that he is stressed about his own problems. Neither thought is cruel. Neither person is trying to hurt you. They are simply carrying things you were never meant to hear. That is the first surprise. People can love you and still worry about you. They can smile and still feel overwhelmed. They can be kind and still have difficult thoughts. You want to forget what you heard. You cannot. So you go to work hoping the office will distract you. It does the opposite. The office is loud, not out loud. Inside your head, every desk comes with a different stream of thoughts. One person is worried about rent. Another is jealous of a promotion. Someone is thinking about lunch. Someone is wondering whether they said something awkward in yesterday's meeting. At first, almost none of it is about you. Then a coworker looks at you, smiles, and thinks something irritated and private. You hear it before you can prepare yourself. You try to act normal. You ask too many questions. Now that coworker starts wondering why you are acting weird. And you hear that thought too. The ability has a problem. The moment you react to a thought, you create a new thought about your reaction. At work, the thoughts do not arrive in neat sentences. They overlap. A worry about money sits beside a memory from high school. A person thinks about coffee, then regrets an email, then wonders whether anyone noticed they are tired. That is what makes the ability exhausting. You are not hearing one honest secret from each person. You are hearing the unfinished draft of being human. Minds wander. Minds protect themselves. Minds throw out fears that people do not actually want to act on. When you hear only the raw thought, you miss the pause that comes after it. You miss the choice that person makes, and the choice is often the part that tells you who they really are. Then you hear something bigger. Your boss is thinking about cutting something. You do not know exactly what. You only catch a fragment, a name, a calendar, a nervous thought about budgets. Then you realize the person who might be affected is your friend, the same friend who is having a good day. The same friend who finally feels hopeful. You have a choice. Say nothing and carry the secret alone, or warn them and somehow explain why you know something you should not know. You try to hint at it. You ask awkward questions. Your friend gets suspicious. They begin thinking about you instead. And suddenly the power is not helping anyone. It is just making you more anxious. You leave early. On the train home, it gets worse. Strangers think everything. You hear fear from someone sitting alone. You hear jealousy from someone staring at another person's phone. You hear loneliness from someone who looks completely fine. You hear thoughts people would never admit, even to themselves. The world becomes unbearably crowded. Then one stranger looks directly at you. Their thought bubble disappears. For the first time all day, there is silence. You think they know what you can do. They do not. They are simply meditating. Their mind is quiet because they are practicing not to follow every thought that appears. The stranger tells you to breathe. You try. Breathe in, breathe out. The noise fades for 3 seconds, then it returns louder than before. Why? Because now you are thinking about the thoughts. You are replaying them, judging them, turning each one into a story. That is when the stranger gives you the real lesson. Thoughts are not the truth. They are not instructions. They are not permanent opinions. They are passing mental weather. People think random things all day long. They do not believe every thought they have, and neither do you. The real skill is not hearing every thought. It is knowing which thoughts deserve your attention. The stranger explains that silence is not the same as having no thoughts. It means noticing a thought without climbing inside it. You can see a fear and decide not to feed it. You can feel jealous and decide not to punish someone for it. You can have an ugly first reaction and still choose a kind second action. That is true for everyone on the train, everyone in the office, and everyone at home. The power makes this obvious because you hear the first reaction before anything else, but real life is not made of first reactions. Real life is made of what people do next. If you only judge the first thought, you never give anyone the chance to become better than it. You test that idea on the train. A frightened thought appears. Instead of grabbing it, you let it pass. A jealous thought appears. You let that pass too. Nothing terrible happens. The strangers do not become worse people because you heard an ugly sentence in their head. They are still commuters carrying bags, checking phones, going home, and trying to make it through a normal day. The difference is inside you. Every time you chase a thought, the thought grows larger. Every time you make a private sentence into a verdict, you add fear to something that might have lasted only a second. The ability is teaching you something strange. Access is not permission. Just because you can enter a person's private mental space does not mean you should live there. The next day you see your friend again, they avoid you. This time you do not try to read their mind, you look at what is actually in front of you. Their shoulders are low, their coffee is untouched, they look tired, so you ask one simple question. Are you okay? This time they choose to tell you. They are scared about their jobs, they are worried about money, they do not know what comes next. Now you can help, not because you stole a private thought, because they opened the door and let you in. That difference matters. Privacy is not a wall built to keep everyone away. It is a door people should be allowed to open themselves. Later, when your friend talks about work, you realize how much easier it would be to use the ability for control. You could search for the exact sentence that proves they trust you. You could listen for every hidden doubt. You could collect private information until you feel safe. But that would not make you closer. It would make you more afraid. Trust cannot be built by checking someone's mind for danger every second. It grows when someone is allowed to speak honestly, be imperfect, and still be met with care. The most useful thing you can offer your friend is not a secret warning. It is your full attention when they decide they are ready to talk. For the rest of the day you practice. A thought comes, you let it go. Another thought comes, you do not turn it into a story. You do not assume it defines the person thinking it. The noise does not disappear, but it gets clearer. You begin noticing people instead of spying on them. You let them speak. You notice that your boss is stressed too. You notice that your friend is making a plan. When the boss calls a meeting, you expect the worst. But this time, you do not read the room. You wait. The boss explains that a project is being cut, not a person. Your friend is safe. For now, and the truth arrived faster once you stopped chasing private thoughts. That afternoon, you start seeing ordinary conversations differently. Someone pauses before answering. Someone changes the subject. Someone says they are fine, then looks at the floor. Before, you might have treated those moments like puzzles to solve. Now you see them as invitations that may or may not be offered. You can ask, you can listen, you can make room, but you cannot demand the answer. Even the friend who is scared about work does not need you to rescue every part of their future. They need a person who can stay present while the future is uncertain. That is less dramatic than reading minds. It is also much harder, and it is far more useful. On the way home, the ability begins to fade. There are fewer thoughts, then one, then none. You should feel relieved. Instead, you feel grateful. You learn that hearing everything is not the same as understanding anything. By midnight, the ability is gone. You are back to normal. Except now you know something important. Everyone has thoughts they would never say. That does not make them bad. It makes them human. Private thoughts can be fearful, selfish, lonely, jealous, funny, and strange. A person is not every passing thought in their head. They are the choices they make after those thoughts arrive. So if you could read everyone's thoughts for one day, would you want to? Or would you rather be heard? The real superpower was never reading minds. It was knowing when not to. Some thoughts are only noise. Some people do not need to be fixed. They need to be heard without being judged. Maybe that is the point. You cannot control every thought that passes through another person's mind. You can only decide what you do when they trust you with the truth. Listening is slower than guessing, but it is how real connection begins. That lesson stays with you long after the ability disappears. Tomorrow you wake up with a different ability. You can see every lie, but should you?